Welcome to the Christian and Daniel Show.
It's about to get real, well, you know the deal. You won't have to guess how either of them feel. Bringing up the things you don't think to know. Never knowing where the conversation will go. Just a little more than anything goes. It's a Christian and Daniel Show.
Hi, I'm Christian, and this is my. Oh wait, there's Daniel. That's my. It's our show, Christian and
Daniel
Show. Yay! Magic fingers. These are jazz hands.
Spirit fingers. Hi.
Yes, spirit fingers. Hi.
How are you?
Yesterday was a big day. Today was like a day of recovery.
It was a big day yesterday.
Yeah, it's a day of recovery. I didn't realize how much energy I put out yesterday into that. And then I got some HVAC coil cleaner for the coils outside. I got me some water. I got me my phone. Someone was like texting me and calling me like crazy.
Yeah, I wonder who. Hey, everybody, for everybody watching, welcome to the Christian and Danny Show. Thank you for joining us on any of the 7 different channels, either Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter. Thank you for joining us. Remember to always subscribe to the channel. If you're on YouTube, would you mind subscribing and hitting that like button? Please share these videos with your friends. Retweet there. And remember that you are part of the conversation, so make sure that you comment and join. You probably noticed that there's already a link on there, and that's something we're going to talk about a little later. But I went ahead and posted the link so that you guys can see it on your channels. But we'll talk about that in just a minute. Yes, we can't talk a lot about what we did yesterday, but
Yawn.
But we can say that it's something we're both very proud of, and it was intense. It was really intense.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah, that.
Yes, it was very intense.
Are we interrupting you?
Yes, you are.
Someone's in a turd mood today. It's a turd soup.
No, I made these amazing. Well, they were mediocre meatballs that I got. I really wanted meatballs that were flavorful, and these were kind of bland. And so I had to have them with some type of dipping sauce. I didn't have barbecue sauce, which is what I would have liked. They were less than satisfying, but it's what I had yesterday.
Did you not get the regular ones we get from Amazon?
I don't know what the regular. Oh, I didn't even think about those, which are already in barbecue sauce and would have been much more delicious. I did these in the air fryer, so they got really nice and crispy. Like you would have loved. They were like, you could hear the crunch when you bit into them. Like they're crispy. But like I said, they were a little bland. They were the Italian blend, and I should have just gone with a regular meatball, like just a standard meatball.
But you gave me a great idea. I wonder if we took the albondigas that I make and put them in the air fryer for a little bit and let them get crispy on the outside and then throw them in the soup.
Well, I could live without putting them in the soup, but hey, yeah.
But because, well, that then albondigas, like my mom's.
In their meatball.
Yes. Okay. Well, not for you, but I'm going to try that here at home.
No, that's a good idea. No, you will make it for me. Do not.
But I was just thinking, my mom used to fry them after she made the little meatballs.
Well, that's because they get crispy, and then they don't get soggy.
But I stopped doing them because of all the grease. But I wonder if instead of put them in the grease, put them in the air fryer, let them crisp, and then throw them in the soup. And make them cook. That'd be pretty good. I've discovered some really great ways of doing air fryer stuff.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, today's been like a day of just trying to get my energy. I talked with my sponsees. Like yesterday, I had a lot of stuff back to back to back to back to back to back, and I didn't really get a break till the later evening. And then I laid down in bed, which I don't usually do, and I was just kind of like, I was just wasted yesterday. Like I wasn't feeling, my stomach was acting up. My diseases were my anorexia and bulimia were acting up because my energy was low and my usual defenses weren't there. And I just kept having to literally say out loud to myself, this is not real. This is just in your head. You're not nauseous. You're not sick. You need to go eat because you need to eat something. That's probably why you're feeling yucky. Go eat. See how you feel. If you still feel yucky, tell yourself it's not, and go lay down and take a nap or whatever it takes to just not participate in this craziness. And that's what I had to do kind of for the rest of the, after all my calls and everything, the late evening into the later evening. And so it was a little odd.
Yeah, I'm feeling it today. I went and laid down.
Okay.
I went down for a little bit and I felt a little dizzy, so my brain is not there.
Yeah, it was a lot of energy yesterday. I mean, a 4-hour board meeting, and then then I had doctor's appointment, sponsees calls, which I don't mind. I love them, but it all just takes energy, and I really underestimated how much energy it was going to take. So I was just kind of wasted. But now I'm like right now I'm going, what do I want for dinner?
I had a couple of pieces of pizza that were in my fridge.
Wow.
And in my freezer. They were in my freezer. But I think it was just too much. I hurt my stomach.
Yeah.
So now I have a little bit of a headache. Blessings, here's my gift to all of the children of the world, to inspire the world, to wake up and stop the wars. Please share. Oh, well, excellent. Thank you. We will take a look at that, Michael. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.
We'll make sure that, I'm sure people can see it here on our page, so we'll make sure to check it out and watch it and share it with us. Thank you for sharing. We appreciate it. Thank you for sharing music with us. But for those of you that are following this either on live or you're watching on a replay, if you're looking at the comment section, we were David, do you have any thoughts or advice when we sometimes get inside our own heads and it messes with our emotions? Do we ever, David?
Well, he's asking you. Yeah.
When I get, my go-tos are always a timeout. Like I give myself a timeout in a positive way, like go meditate, go listen to some music. Usually watch something dumb on TV that requires no brain cells. But Christian's my go-to sometimes when I get too far in my head. I need somebody to bounce ideas off of and help me sort through it. Because by the time I'm at that point, David, I can't tell fact from fiction pretty much. So I need somebody to help me sort it out. And if Christian's not there to help me, I have a couple of friends that are like on my 911 list that know what I'm going through. But meditation, I try to take a nap if I can, sit back, disconnect from everything for a little bit. But then I like video too. So if I can get on my video game, it's so repetitive that it gets me out of whatever I'm thinking about. It just disconnects me. What about you?
Well, he wanted to know what you do.
Well, I'm asking you. You're part of the show. What I'm asking you. What about you?
I escape to, I love, my default setting is when it's just me and I need to disconnect. For me, it's very easy. I play one of my video games on my PS4. Those always, they don't take a lot of, you don't have to be an intellect warrior to play them. and they're basically just all action games, but mostly one is like sort of like D&D, but it's like you're playing the characters, and the other one is Star Trek Online. That's how I disconnect. And then when I am really spiraling, I do the same thing. I call Daniel, but it's when I'm spiraling, which is very different from when I'm just overwhelmed with feelings. I'll call Daniel, and he usually can talk me down pretty easy. He's a very grounding influence on me, always has been. And then besides that, I can either call. I always have the option to call my sponsor, or I can, because I am in a 12-step program, or I can contact. I have friends on the same type of thing, friends that I've had for a long time that I could call if I really need to talk. And they're usually available, and they understand me. They know my crazy, so they know how to talk me down, and they know how to just listen.
I think that's a key word, is friends that know are crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate that we each have friends that understand us, know what we're going through, and they know the tactics to walk us off the ledge, and they don't feed it. Here's the important thing I think that we both know is we have friends that don't feed into it. They stop us.
Yeah.
What do you guys do if you're already reacted in a strong way, or perhaps said something to someone you later regret? Saying the damage every time.
It's only because I've had 16 years of recovery that I don't react that way anymore. But when I used to, the only thing you can do, you can't take back what happened. And apologizing for a lot of people is hollow, because they're like, well, you shouldn't have done it in the first place, so apologizing kind of doesn't matter. What it is cleaning up your side of the street. I look at it this way: I got to take care of my stuff. What's bugging me about this incident? I reacted strongly, but what is my part in it? And that's what you want to make amends for. That's what you want to say I'm sorry for, or to say I'm not going to react that way again because I'm aware that it was perhaps not completely appropriate. And that's what you could say to someone. And that way it doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter if they accept your apology. It doesn't matter if they say, well, you're a and F this and F that. And whatever they say to you is irrelevant, because you're not apologizing for them. You're apologizing for yourself, to take care of your business, so that when you move forward with your life, you don't feel guilty or sad or have any effects on it, because you've cleaned it up. You made your amends. No matter how they take it is not your problem. That's their problem.
Yeah. And
don't keep the poison in yourself.
I think, like, between Christian's the only person that I ever really argue with, and we don't really argue that much. We have debates, and we have we both have strong opinions about things.
Yeah.
Huh?
Like last night. We had a debate last night.
Yeah, and
it wasn't an argument. It wasn't an argument at all. It was a debate because we both had very diametrically different thought processes about something about an activity that occurred, and it was just a discussion.
Yeah, but
spirited.
Should we ever go to that space again where we're like, F you and F you, which we used to. But it's been a long time since we had that argument.
Yeah.
But if you should go in that direction, then we take a little pause, we regroup. I think that's what we did the last time. We were both in separate rooms. We regrouped, and then we came back together and said, okay, can we talk about it? But here's the thing, David. If you are in an argument, I don't know what opinion the rest of the folks watching have, but when you have a deep relationship with somebody, and you know each other, and you love each other, and you like each other, and there's respect, and it's not common that you go to that space, then the other person can sit back and go, that's not you. What's going on? What's really going on? And let's figure this out together. It's versus arguing with somebody you barely know or an acquaintance. I mean, what activity occurred?
Oh, it was. I expressed myself well. I'm not being conceited. I'm just being honest. I've had a lot. I've been an educator. I've been a teacher, an educator, a trainer, a corporate trainer. Worked in corporate America for 20 plus years. Worked in entertainment for 15 plus years. I know how to express myself, but I said something yesterday that triggered Daniel to say, you could have stopped while you were ahead. The point, your emphasis point was unnecessary. And I didn't agree with that. And that's where he and I had a divergence of opinion. And so I was trying to understand his position. And that's really all I was trying to do, because I thought I could be wrong. So I really want to try and understand his position and where he's coming from. But then Daniel is very creative, and I tend to be more logical and like very linear thinking. And so he started talking about this show and the event we were participating in yesterday, and kind of was melding them back and forth, and it confused me. So I didn't understand what the point was. And that got irritating. So I had to clarify that point, like ask, what is it? And where is it? And what are you talking about? So that was kind of it. I'm not going to go into detail. I'm purposely saying ambiguous about what we participated in, because it's kind of high level, and I really don't want it to be public.
Then I was coming from the side that I've been in front of the camera for many years, and there's a place to put a period in a comment and not move forward, and you make your statement without. And I was just emphasizing, hi Wayne. There's I was just emphasizing, like, you could have put the period there, made your point without adding the extra. But it's just a matter of where you come from. I just come from I work in very PC oriented spaces where you have to watch your T's, cross your T's and dot your I's, and watch the P's and Q's most of the time. So I've just been programmed that way for the last 15 years. So, but I love him and I respect him, and I think he's very smart. Every once in a while, he makes adorable faces. Not right now, but every once in a while. So for everybody watching, this is Christian and Daniel show.
Eyebrow up means.
You're watching the Christian and Daniel show. Thank you for joining us, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter. Please like and share the show. Make a comment. Join the conversation. We're just talking about differences of opinions and how to apologize when you made a mistake. Also going to talk about, because if you're watching us,
and also, I wanted to emphasize, apologies or making amends. It doesn't matter whether you're in program or not. The meanings of those words are the same. And I really don't believe in apologizing. I believe in making amends, like cleaning up your side of the street. And I can't emphasize that enough. Just worry about cleaning up your side of the street. Doesn't matter what the other person does with whatever you say. It doesn't matter, because you can't control them. You can't control the reactions. And you can't control how they're going to think about you. If something's already happened, it's happened. Deal with, accept that it's already happened, and then just clean up your side of the street so you don't feel bad about what happened. You can say, I did my best to make it better, and that's it.
And sometimes the damage is not as big as we think it is.
Oh yeah. Sometimes people are like, "What are you talking about?"
Christian, do you sometimes feel like people are intimidated by you?
Oh, absolutely. if they see a certain side of, like, there are different sides of me. Like everyone, we all have different sides. But yeah, people get intimidated by me, and they particularly get intimidated when I start. If I go into presentation speak, where everything's very PC, very well thought out, and I use all my 25-cent and 50-cent words, and just to make sure they understand where they stand compared to me. So Daniel knows I could be very intimidating when I want to be. I don't try to live that way, but yes, people do get intimidated by me.
Well, that was some of the original arguments we would have. Like, early on.
Because I'm better than you. That was the attitude that Daniel got.
Thank you for adding that at the end. Thank you for adding that at the end.
You got to wait for me to finish my sentence, babe. But that's how I was when I met Daniel. I really did, I worked hard, and I'm very well educated and went to really good school. Well, went to some pretty good schools to get my degrees, and worked in fields that required me to be pretty proficient at every one of my careers. I didn't have the option to be half baked. So yeah, and I learned in the professional world and my personal world how to be very intimidating when I need to be.
Unfortunately, it didn't work with me. So
never works with Daniel. He is not intimidated, and particularly this many years in, he's certainly not intimidated by me.
But
He knows the little frail person behind some of it.
early on, just to fill you in, David, early on, he tried to be like mansplain things to me, and I was like, I'm not stupid, I know things, but actually the
that's one of your favorite phrases with me. I'm not stupid. I heard that so many times for so many years. I'm not stupid. I never said you were.
So finally, I was like, I may not have gone to college, but I made it this far, so stop mansplaining things to me. Actually, I used the phrase gringo-splaining things to me once, but that could have been just once.
Yeah, I was less ethnically aware when we met. Really less ethnically aware. I may have been of color, but I was definitely a coconut, brown on the outside and white on the inside.
I am so glad you saved me from my village in Mexico and brought me to the States.
Well,
Educate me.
When Daniel, when I first introduced him to the automobile, and, he got in. It was the first time he went somewhere without riding a burro. It was amazing. And then when we first got on a plane, and he's like, ¿Quién es? And I'm like, it's a plane.
How are up in the air? I don't know. Explain to me.
And we're taking off. He's grabbing my hand and looking out the window with such great fear. It was so adorable. And it was fun to mansplain flying to him.
How are we flying?
I'm totally making this up. None of that.
Shut up, turd. I will admit this. No, because not even. I had been first class before, but I will admit this about Christian and my relationship. Christian did teach me a new way to appreciate the world, and in ways that I hadn't done, and that was pretty cool. It opened my eyes to some things, and then in turn I opened Christian's eyes. I think that's the thing.
I was going to say vice versa. It's the same thing. Daniel taught me to appreciate the world in different ways that I on my own would never have conceived. And he's also taught me how to see the world a little differently. So and I'm still alive, so I'm still learning every day from him. And when our time together is never poorly spent, we've grown together a lot, and we continue to grow. And that's our goal. That's one of our big goals with our relationship is we need to keep growing. We need to keep being open to learning from each other, even when it's tough and we don't want to. And there's days when I'm like, just shut up. I don't want to hear it. But you know what? I've learned over the years, one, that those are not the right words to say to Daniel. And two, I want to have the conversation. I want that. If anything, he tells me that he's tries to tell me to shut up. But that doesn't work either. So we learn and grow from each other a lot. And I appreciate that about our relationship.
Yeah. We've learned to balance each other. And that works for the show. That works for our company. That works for advocacy work. So it works really well. So I'm very blessed to have a partner like Christian.
I can say, David, I have some old friends who knew me before I was in recovery, before when I was using and participating in crazy stuff. And I also was really negative all the time, 100% of the time, no smiles, miserable, angry, and conniving and manipulative all the time. And people who knew me from that time in my life, when they see me now, they don't quite know how to deal with me or how to react. Because back then they were intimidated by all that darkness and negativity and that dark cloud that seemed to be always around me. And now when they see me, they're like, they still want to try and treat me the same way they did when I was that way. But for me now, that's kind of, those behaviors are toxic to me, and they're unnecessary. And it's just one of those interesting things that I get to kind of, when I do get together with them, it's like I get to show them who I am today. And I'm very proud of who I've become today. And that I'm not the dark cloud walking around having nothing good to say about the world, because the world's pretty amazing. And since I knew them, I've seen a lot more of the world, and I've lived abroad, and I've done a lot of things to better myself. And even without the intention of bettering myself, I became a better person because of them.
Hi, Gabe.
Hi, Gabe.
How you doing, Mr. Lito? Yeah, so I hope that answered your question, David.
David, these are awesome questions. Thank you for asking, and thank you for feeling confident enough in us to give you answers. We appreciate it. I hope they're helpful.
Yeah. Again, I wanted to remind everybody, if you are watching us on any of the 3 channels, because I don't think it's on Twitter, but I posted a link because changing energy slightly. We watched a really cool documentary on Friday.
TV on Friday.
Friday. Yes, on AARP. It's called which of all places.
We're both members.
Yeah, they've had other documentaries and they've shown other specials, but I usually miss them. But I really wanted to watch this one. If you're a member of AARP, you can go in there. If you're not a member, join them. But in the entertainment section, TV for grown-ups, there was a documentary called MTV's 40th Anniversary, a look back at the music video stars. And we were so happy that we got to catch it. Was that you two are always a safe space for anyone to share. Oh, man, thank you. We appreciate that.
Oh, my God. No, you're going to make us tear up. Well, you're going to make me
Ida.
Not public.
You guys are so old.
Absolutely. We're on AARP. You know, the day you get that AARP card, you just want to cry because you're like, oh, my God, I'm old enough to be a member of AARP.
But then you figure out that they have a lot of specials and a lot of discounts, and you're like, bring it on.
And their magazine is pretty good. They have some amazing people.
They have some good interviews, yeah. I mean, this is like,
crowd. I'm shocked at how many the celebrities I like are the same age as us.
I just sounded like somebody that reads Playboy for the articles. I buy it for the articles. It's so good.
You don't know the amazing names that have passed through these halls at Playboy.
You're 43 tomorrow, Gabe? Serious? Well, happy birthday, buddy.
Wow, happy early birthday, Gabe.
We love you, man. Happy birthday.
43. You're a baby.
I remember 43 like it was 10 years ago.
It almost was.
But going back to the MTV 40th anniversary, we were so, I think we both were. We were so amazed of how it started because I did history. I was amazed about the videos that they played in the beginning.
I was shocked how they were so hardcore about keeping it rock and roll, and they didn't want R&B. They didn't want pop. Yeah, I know. That's totally what you want to do when you get it. You're like, oh, F the shred it, burn it.
Well, actually, to be honest, I've been a member for about 10 years now, 8 years.
Yeah, they sent it to him early.
Yeah, because of the Medicare. When I was on disability, they sent it for that. So yeah. But yeah, you were saying you were surprised about
that they were so committed to being like the rock station. Like, we want to be rock. They didn't want R&B. They didn't want pop. They didn't want. That's what shocked me, is they were so restrictive in the early days. And it launched on Viacom in the Bay Area after their initial launch, so I guess I missed the hard rock era. In the little Bay Area city of little town of Dublin I lived in. It's a city now, but a big city. But yeah, and
Thanks for that. You're right though, because I was just watching a reality show before the show on MTV, and it's a reality show. So yeah, but do you happen to remember the first or the video that made the most impact for you from the original MTV era?
You know, I was a huge Madonna fan. And it was probably when she did her performance of Like a Virgin, which was so filthy for that time frame, at the first MTV Video Music Awards.
Yeah. I didn't even realize. I didn't realize it was the first one. I didn't realize
that was the very first Video Music VMA Awards, and it was before they even called them VMAs. It was a MTV Video Music Awards, and she did that performance, which was so filthy and dirty, and you know she's doing all the faux movements and gyrations and all in this virginal white gown. It was so bad for that time, and that's when I fell in love with her. I was like, I love Madonna. Not love Madonna, but I love Madonna, like, because she is like counterculture.
I always had the coolest, creepiest videos. Tool. I don't remember Tool.
I don't either.
Of course, Madonna. Who remembers the first video that they played? Oh, that was part of the show.
Yeah, that was the very beginning of the show. Yeah. The very first video, but I don't. What was it?
Video killed the radio
Video
star.
Killed the radio star. I don't remember who sings that. I never really knew, but I remember the song.
Yeah. If somebody can remember who sang it. Okay, so my first MTV video that like sticks in my head, and I know it's a little further down the line, was Raspberry Beret by Prince.
Oh, you told me that. Yeah.
And it was mainly because they were all standing around him in that podium thing, and they're all doing the little dance. And I remember being in my sister's house in the living room, in Nancy's house, with the TV full blast and doing the Raspberry Beret dance. And I so wanted to go to a secondhand store and I just knew that if I walked in,
Raspberry Beret.
Yes, and I knew I was going to find one. I was going to find one.
Or you're going to go in the outdoor.
I wanted to ride a bike and go have sex in some barnyard or something. And
I don't know like, those lyrics from the song.
Yeah, I made up my own song, Christian.
You saw the super extended version.
Yes, this was the extended Mexican version. But here's how devoted I was to MTV at the time. I had the MTV button-up light denim shirt, and I had the MTV vest. I had the MTV vest.
I never owned any of their apparel. I never owned any of their posters, but I loved watching the channel. I would have that channel on all the time. As soon as I got a TV in my room, MTV was on. I would just, and because it was like a radio, you just leave it on, but it was actually music I wanted to hear, as opposed to what was on the radio. I didn't always like what I heard. That was back in the days, guys. I know there's people who might be watching the show who have no idea what I'm talking about right now, but those are the days when you used to put a cassette tape into your radio, into the cassette player on your component stereo, which means it was all a bunch of different pieces that worked together. And you'd listen to the radio and you wait till that song came on, then you'd hit record right when it started so you'd catch the song on tape. That's how we used to have to make tapes. You didn't used to have singles, one song on a CD or singles on anything. You had to make your own singles. It was crazy. So primitive.
And yes, that's how I found out Rick Astley was white. I had no idea.
I remember being shocked. Idea. I did not believe that was him. I thought it was like a Milli Vanilli thing. The Buggles.
The Buggles. Thank you. Micah. Yes.
Well,
yes. Glad you're here. But what else? What other video? Well, we found out about.
And then Pat Benatar, Love is a Battlefield. And that's when she did her shimmy. We all got the shimmy.
Who didn't learn how to shimmy with Pat Benatar?
Every 3 shimmies, you're taking a step like a warrior.
Yes, the Buggles. Thank you.
I always think when I hear the name The Buggles, all I can think about is the Bugaloos, and then I hear the
The
Bugaloos.
Bugaloos, the Bugaloos, the Bugaloos. So here and there. Now, if you know what we're talking about,
That's really old.
you're old.
We old.
I used the VHS record Headbangers Ball at the time. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. I haven't thought about the Headbangers Ball. Of course I used to watch. I loved it when they first came out with Yo Rap's MTV, and they started featuring the early like Run DMC stuff. Like it was clean. Rap was kind of clean and fun back then. And
The other video that I remember like catching my attention was Rod Stewart. We are young. No, not when we are like Young Turks from Rod Stewart.
I wasn't a Rod Stewart fan.
You weren't a Rod Stewart fan? We are all 54. Yeah. Yeah, there you go, my guy. So we're all in that age, 51. Brother. We're all on that age. 50. But I was surprised to find out too, Christian. Remember, we were watching that MTV paid for Thriller.
Oh yeah, they funded Thriller. Right. They basically, as Daniel said while we were watching it, it looks like MTV basically made Michael Jackson the star he became. If it weren't for MTV, he would have been it would have taken him a lot longer to get known like he was.
So if you don't know,
they were told they were getting a rock song from him, and the studio did a switch and ended up sending him Billie Jean.
Yes, but then when they did Thriller,
they paid for it.
They couldn't pay to make the video, but they paid to make a behind the scenes documentary.
That's right.
And in the billing, they added the video.
How many times did we watch the behind the scenes? I saw the behind the scenes more times than I can count.
Do you remember when Michael started to look a little different? Yes. It wasn't during that time. It was post.
It was that bad.
It was after the Billie Jean. It was after the Thriller album that he started making chicks. Right?
I think it was bad when he got the nose surgery to make his nose narrower, and that was the beginning of the end. That's when he started really changing himself. And of course, Janet followed suit, and then LaToya did the same thing, so they all look like family. And then some of the other brothers I think did it too, because they all had pretty narrow noses in the end, or they all still do.
Remember?
Yes.
Oh man, yes.
I used to love Matt Loder. I love the MTV News because it was actually news I cared about, and the way they presented it, I was entertained by it. It pulled me in because like I can't watch the news now because it's so boring and negative.
I remember there was a place in Monterrey because I was in high school in Monterrey that they had cable, and not a lot of people in Mexico had cable, and they would show MTV because near the high school. So you would go there for sodas or snacks, and I thought it was so cool because when Matt came on to say something, all my friends were like, "What is he saying? What's he saying?" I'm like, "Hold on, let me listen." Then I'll interpret it. But I thought it was so cool because I was like with my little MTV vest. What? So that's my cool story.
Yeah, that's Matt Loder's MTV News cast about you.
That's the end of that. Sorry, that wasn't. I was trying to be cool. That was it. Shut up.
You did it.
But that's where I mean, come on. How many of us got all of our music entertainment like updates?
I got everything from MTV, and that was before they were doing everything. But the best era I think of MTV that I really loved was when they started doing the summer shows, like summer at like Daytona Beach or whatever beach they were at, and they started doing the beach house, and I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I'm like, I would love to go to one of those and just be there. It's just, the game shows and all the hot people, and it was just so cool. It was just cool, and you felt like you were there when you were watching it, like you were living vicariously through all these people. It was really neat.
Well, some of the shows were in South Padre Island, which was just down the road from my sister Nancy. And I thought, I can't wait to get old enough to go over there. And then they stopped when I was old enough.
Then they moved to Florida.
I was like, okay. Railroad, yes, of course. Pedro, I was Pedro from the Railroad.
I never, in hindsight, I don't understand. When Pedro was sick, they did have the cocktail, didn't they? Or was he before? Because
If anybody can Google, or I can Google here.
Because I don't understand. I guess I didn't understand why. I'm kind of like, did Pedro have to die? Like, I thought, was it before the cocktail? But it wasn't. It couldn't have been, because this was that was the second show, right? Wasn't it New York and then San Francisco?
Season 1 was New York,
Right.
and then
Series 1 was New York, and then the second one was I think it was San Francisco, and that was Pedro's season.
yes. So that was the following year. So that must have been 1993, 94. So yeah, the cocktail was already out, but it was still very early in the stages. But I think I had cable, so I watched Nickelodeon and MTV really, and then my asshole parents moved, and no more cable.
Yeah.
Should have called CPS.
Child Protective Services. Did we even have that back then? I don't know. It seems like CPS didn't exist till like the 21st century or late 20th century. Because my goodness, my parents would just be like, go out and play. They didn't care where you ended up. You could be dead in the field, and they'd be like, I'm just angry he's late for dinner. Nothing would even look for you till next day.
I'm trying to look for a season and kind of get an idea of when that was. Well, he died in 94, and that was right after the show aired. So yeah.
Right. So I don't actually understand. I mean, I don't know what he died from, what complication got him, but he was the first televised HIV positive person. And that was pretty incredible. And we owe him, our eternal thanks for that, for making it public and, making it not have to be the shameful secret that it was made out to be, particularly by the Reagan administration. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a Reagan fan. I'm just saying the way the government dealt with HIV and AIDS in the early days was despicable, no matter how you look at it. That's just factual. That's data. And it's there, it's history. But, fortunately, everything came around. And people like Pedro, who broke ground and broke barriers at a time when it was very difficult, got to respect him. I just never understood why he died, because I'm going, if he was on the cocktail, I didn't get it. But I know as Daniel and I have learned, so many things come from HIV. Like HIV makes you so much more susceptible to things that don't even run in your family. Like Daniel's anal cancer was a result of HPV, which was a result of HIV, and not, one, the inoculation didn't exist way back then, and two, his HIV compromising his immune system allowed it to propagate and grow and become what it did. And it's kind of incredible when he and I actually started doing research, how we learned that HIV positive people are like 25% more susceptible to like a huge list of cancers. And there does not have to be any genetic predisposition genetically. You are just 25% greater chance because you're HIV positive. So, that's always, I guess that's a continual message that Daniel as an advocate and myself as an advocate, I would say, is just do research. If you become HIV positive, just make sure you know everything that can come, so you get checked out for everything and can catch it early. Daniel was really lucky that his HIV, his cancer was found at almost stage 0. They were saying stage 0 initially, and then they said stage 1. Who can't remember Puck the you-know-what? Puck the Uck.
And in the reunion shows, he's still a prick. So
it's kind of scary being a 50-year-old prick.
Yeah, it was so grateful for the progress we've made, but still so much research to be done. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, one of my first boyfriends used to go to the AIDS ward at San Francisco General in the early 80s, when no one really knew what was going on or how it spread. he would go in there, and he was a massage therapist, and he would massage the people dying from AIDS, and give them, basically, before it became a thing, he was giving them touch therapy because no one would touch them. No one would even be in the room with them back then. And I got to give him props for doing one of the kindest acts I could possibly imagine when you're laying in bed alone, scared and dying, and everyone's scared of you. It's amazing to have someone come in and offer you healing touch like that. So, amazing.
Yeah. So according to Wikipedia, he had a high fever due to complications, went to the hospital, and just never recovered. He passed away.
Yeah.
But
and that just reminds us, even with the cocktail, you still can get sick. You still can have
one of the things that Pedro left was a legacy of advocacy for those of us who have followed in his footsteps in advocacy and advocating through our own conditions. He was really one of the pioneers, showed us that, especially for somebody like me that's in entertainment and is in front of the cameras. He proved to me, that an HIV status should not hold me back from following my dreams and going after my goals. And that is one of the reasons that Putting Together Conversations came to be, is that I wanted to teach people that I'm following my dreams and that you can too. And then the Cartivo, and then Christian and Daniel show, and then our company. This is all about motivating people to go after their dreams, regardless of your race, religion, health conditions, whether you like tacos or not, which I judge you for. You can continue to go for those. So I guess we can get this episode to Pedro for that. So thank you.
Oh, and I saw on TikTok through Sander that I Am Jazz is getting a 7th season.
Oh.
And this is the season where we find out if she actually decided to go ahead and go to Harvard because she was accepted there, or whether she's staying home in Florida.
I didn't know there was a 6th season.
Yeah.
She got on my nerves like on season 3. Like she started getting on my nerves.
Well, all things in consideration, yes. She's a teenager. She's a typical insane teenager, and she did a lot of annoying things. I agree. But, I still respect the fact, and I guess I just saw an interview with her mother where she was talking about the early days when she was little, that people were blaming I can't be trusted then. I like some tacos. I just don't like all tacos, and I don't like tacos. Okay.
All right. So we're down to 15 minutes. What were you gonna say about Jess? Sorry.
Nothing. I was just talking about her mother was interviewed, and she talked about something I didn't know about, that they were so maligned and attacked long before the show existed, because they they believed their child when she said, I'm a girl, not a boy. When she was like 2, she was already saying stuff like that, and they believed it, so they supported her from a very young age. And they were like maligned and attacked, and people called child protective services on them and stuff, apparently, when she was little, because people viewed them as like that they were making her, making her a transgender individual, instead of saying, no, you're not transgender, you're too young to know, which is BS. It's like being gay. If you know when you're 2, you know when you're 2. You are what you are. You're born that way. It's not you don't choose it. No one's choosing to be transsexual. Dear Lord. It's just like choosing to be gay. Like, I guess I want to be part of one of the most hated, universally hated minorities in America. Please. So I get it. Like, I was shocked because I was thinking, I've never thought about that. Like, that had to be so hard on them. And they got death threats. They got everything. And this was before the show existed. And I can imagine once the show came out, 7 years, 7 years of that, that's a whole other thing. But anyway, I digress. That was just amazing. It was kind of cool to hear that perspective. It gave me more respect for what they did.
I remember that from the first season when I looked them up and found out about them.
I've actually never seen the first or second season.
All right. So you ready?
Sure, I'm ready. Hi, everyone. I don't know what I'm ready for. No. Um, we have a pick of the week, the final pick of the week, and this is my Pride pick of the week, and just my pick of the week. It's Halston. Halston was a very, very, very well-known fashion designer, particularly in the 80s and 90s, and into the 2000s. His company still exists today. The name still exists, but he did sell his name. And this was kind of like telling his story. Ewan McGregor plays Halston, and he does an amazing job. And they tell the story of Halston, like from when his very early beginnings in a crazy home with domestic violence to and how he used to make his mom hats to help calm her down and make her, get her to smile, and all the way to how he very eccentrically ran his company, and when he was out of money, how he sold the name, not realizing how detrimental that could be at a later stage. It was incredible. Like, his story was really incredible, and that he was still taken advantage of by people who acted like they wanted to be with him romantically, and they actually just wanted to get the opportunity to have the fame and money. So it's a very interesting tale, and it's an interesting. Also shows a side of being gay or being homosexual in a very different time frame, and how you were more susceptible to things because you felt like there weren't that many people like you out there. And by today's standards, you're not alone, and kids start off coming out and they know they're not alone, and that there's many, 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 many other people in their community. But either way, fantastic show. It's on Netflix, and it's Halston, starring Ewan McGregor.
Nice. All right. My pick of the week is Look Up. We were going through Netflix, and we found it, and the cartoon popped up, and we started watching it just because we didn't know what else to watch at that moment. And we were actually pleasantly surprised. If you're not about Luca, it's actually one of the new cartoons by I just forgot. Yeah, Disney movies. It's on Disney, so you can check it out on Disney Plus. But I don't want to break down the whole thing, but basically, I think it's in the trailer. Luca is a sea monster, and he wants to come live on Earth, on land, and it just shows story of inclusion and acceptance and going after your dreams and goals. Basically, what we were just talking about earlier. But the storyline is really cute. The characters are being, it's easy watching with the heart, and we were just both really in love with it, and I cried a little bit. So if you want a story about acceptance and diversity and love and hope and having faith and working hard, because that was one of the messages too. If you want a movie about working hard, then check out Look Up on Disney Plus right now. So go check it out. And that is my pick of the week.
Yay, Daniel, pick of the week.
The other movie that we were a little late to the game and watching was Soul. We watched it the same night.
Oh,
and
I was really misinformed about Soul. It was good. It was a fantastic movie.
Totally different idea. Totally different idea.
But people, I don't know where people got impressions. Like, I heard from more than one person, oh, the main character is gay. It's a gay character. No, he wasn't. He was not a gay character. I don't know where that ridiculous concept came from, but I'm like, no, he wasn't.
I wonder, as I thought about that, I wonder if it's because I don't want to give away the whole movie. The other voice that comes up when he comes back to Earth.
Oh, because the other soul
is a female.
Yeah, and that might be where people were thinking, but no.
But he's not.
That was not the intent of that. I'm pretty sure.
But I can
see that.
But I was so in love with just the idea of where
souls come from.
Yeah, and how we collect information as we go through life. I mean, I'm sure most of you have probably watched it by now. If you have not, go check it out. Again, it was our second feature of the night, and we were just like, "You want to watch it? Sure." We'd ordered late night McDonald's. We're like, "You want to watch it? Sure, let's watch it." But I was so blown away at how beautiful it was, and the animation is wonderful. And it's just both of them are really good.
And the name of the company is Pixar.
But
Pixar made Luca. Pixar created Soul. And
is it a Pixar?
Yes, they're both Pixar, but they're under the umbrella of Disney because Pixar's always been owned by Disney.
So it is Disney.
It's owned by Disney.
But so it is Disney.
It's a subsidiary, so it's not Disney.
So it's still Disney.
No, it's under the Disney umbrella, corporate umbrella.
But Disney's in the name.
No, Pixar is Pixar. There's no Disney's Pixar. It's Pixar.
But it's on the Disney Channel.
Okay, it's on Disney Plus. Yes.
So there is Disney in the name.
No, Pixar is its own company. It has its own name called Pixar.
Under
Not
Disney Plus.
On Disney Plus. Distributed by Disney Plus.
So when I say it's on Disney Plus, I'm not incorrect.
So everyone, you can see what I deal with like regularly is he's completely wrong, but there's no way he's going to admit to it.
Am I?
Am
I wrong?
Disney. That's like we say Dr. Pol, the veterinarian, his show's fantastic. And, it's Disney because Disney owns the channel. No, it's not Disney.
Does it own the channel?
Yes.
Well, then Disney's in there somewhere.
Oh, dear Lord. Exhausted.
Yes.
I'm just too tired today.
Are we familiar with HBO Max show called The Treatment? I have not watched The Treatment. Oh, in Treatment.
In Treatment. Not
in Treatment. No,
I haven't seen it. I watched the first season some time ago. And I really, really liked it. I enjoyed it, but I kind of lost it because I didn't have HBO for a while. And now I have HBO Max. I just put it on my list. Or I guess I put on Daniel and our list because we get it through. Anyway.
I'll take a look at it. Her is a subsidiary company of
Disney.
Thank you. Thank you, Gabe.
I said
Thank you, Gabe. So you agree.
I said that.
So you agree with me.
I said that.
Yes. So
I said it's a wholly owned subsidiary, but that does not mean they're Disney. They're still Pixar, their own company.
So they're there. Okay, with that said, I want to remind everybody, Wednesdays, remember to join us here every Wednesday night. Put it on your calendar. I just want you to know that Christian behind the scenes just blew me 2 fingers, just to let you know. That's what I do on a regular basis. Wednesdays, remember to join us. Put it on your notice. Make sure that if you're on YouTube, to hit that notification button to remind you that we're here every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On Fridays, join me at 5 o'clock for the Cardivo Show at 5 p.m. And on Saturdays with 2 shows with Putting Together Conversations at 12 and 5. Make sure that you join us. If you're watching us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or LinkedIn, remember you can hit the subscribe button and the notification button to remind you that we're on the air. If you don't know about my book, well, let me tell you about it. This is Grumpy Bunny and the Colors Game. Go check it out. Written by me, illustrated by Jennifer and Vivian Gatt, our mother and daughter. You can find it at all these fine establishments: Bookshop, Target, Bunny 17 Media, Amazon Books, and Barnes & Noble. Soon to come out in Spanish. And just a heads up, the Cardivo Intuitive Deck is coming out soon. It's in trials right now. So we should have it out hopefully by the end of the year. So Disney owns Pixar. Thank you, Leo. Thank you.
I said that.
I said, Daniel is more right. Ha ha. Thank you. Thank you, Leo. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you, Leo.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us on the show. Great show, great insight, and entertaining as always. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. We appreciate it.
We always hope so.
We're working on getting our guest host for this week. We already have somebody we're going to approach. So
you already
stay
approached
tuned.
her, right?
Not yet. I will approach her tomorrow, but we should have a guest. So we're alternating. So if you would like to be a guest host on the Christian and Daniel show, let us know, and you could be sitting here with us.
Be a part of the
Yes,
conversation directly.
Yeah, and arguing with us, just like we do. So send us an email, send us a message on any of the channels you're watching on, and let us know, hey, I want to be a guest host and come talk and have my pick of the week, and you can join us, just like Gabe has. Gabe,
Steven.
Crystal, Ken,
Steven.
you're a fan of the new time slot. Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you for watching us. Leo, of course. I will message you tonight on Facebook, right? I can message you on Facebook. I will message you on Facebook, and we'll talk. We'll definitely have you on the show. But great show, babe.
Good show, hon. We broke some legs.
I thought we weren't going to talk about that.
I like that part.
This is nice. All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll see you next week.
Have
Bye.
a good rest of the week.